All right, my next guest is, to me, I find him funny. And secondly, I also think he's one of the most creative human beings that I know. He is a bona fide ad man as far as South African ad industry is concerned. He's also a judge at the Loeries. So if you want to have your ad win something, you better be nice to me because I could be nice to him and blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying we take bribes, but I could say, hey, do something for X, Y, or Z. So this gentleman goes by the name of Sithole. He is a creative director at one of the biggest ad agencies in Johannesburg. We're talking all things. How does one advertise in the climate of COVID? Let's welcome him. He's joining us via Skype. So serious. How's it, Grant?
You know what's dope? I don't know how you think the Loeries work. I love that. I love how you think that there's a if I can talk to someone X, Y, and Z. I love that shit. I love this kind of thing.
In fact, let's go into it. How do they work, Mr. Judge?
Well, to begin with, it's not just one guy judging. It's a whole panel of
Yeah.
but actually, what happens is they go through a list of all the people who've been winning stuff recently. You will need to have been winning for quite some time to start judging.
To start judging.
Yeah, so in order to become a judge, you kind of need to have a pedigree of some kind.
Okay.
It's tough for me to say these things about myself. It's tough, man. It's tough.
You gotta have caliber. If you don't have caliber, you don't become a judge.
There's a bit of sort. Yeah. So then what happens is they just gather all the guys in the country who've been winning, or who have a track record of winning. Just so the best minds can judge the best work, really.
Okay, and then from there, you guys, and then the entries come through, right?
Yeah. So then what happens is how it happened I've also been judging what is called the one show in the US, and it's and the process kind of works similarly in that you get the first round of judging that you do remotely. So I'll be sitting here doing the first remote judging, so that by the time we get to do the judging in person, then they reduce the stuff from reams and reams of stuff into just the stuff that is finalists or that might actually win.
Okay, fantastic. And have you, in your time of judging, have you ever come across an ad where you thought this should not even be at the stage where we are judging it?
Let me tell you the thing about entries and award shows. Nobody can stop you from entering anything you want. So you don't see more of that than the stuff you want to see, actually. And it's incredible because some of the stuff you gotta go, why have I not seen this on TV? And instantly you go, that's why I've not seen this on TV.
Okay, and to you, while we're talking about ads, and I know as somebody who has no idea who you are, we haven't gone into the pleasantries of introducing you. Hey, I'm so and so, and do this. We'll get to that a little bit later. But what constitutes a good ad? What are the things where you sit there and you're like, damn, why didn't I think of that first?
There are actually quite a few factors. And I mean, I think the best way to kind of describe it is, have you ever seen a piece of communication you thought that thing is a piece of shit, but actually when you think about who it's actually meant for and how much it's actually moving the product, you realize that a lot goes into consideration when you make the advertising. So everything, including exactly how the concept is going to work, the intensity of whether it's going to be the humor, the intensity of the seriousness, all the way to things like the media plan, where the thing's going to fly. All those things kind of contribute to exactly what the ad is going to be. And more often than not, you find some ads can find themselves at the intersection of all those things and still be good. Where sometimes you see ads and you're like, yeah, I don't know who it was meant for, but that person, I'm worried about them right now. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's always a combination of a lot of things. But at the same time, to your point, when an ad is good, it's good. And when black people are dancing for custard and debit cards, It'll never be good. It'll never be good.
Or when we are dancing while washing clothes, that's still it hits the mark.
It's a conversation that we're having every single day about. You know, I'm pretty sure black folk do a little more than just dancing. Look, we enjoy a good dance. Let's not lie to ourselves in each other. It's not all we do. We have conversations like this as well. You know, so yeah,
Okay.
it's a whole bunch of things.
Okay. Now, Grant, and I think the importance of our conversation today is we are in day 90 whatever of the South African lockdown. Lots of brands, lots of companies, lots of, everybody, in fact, is thinking, all right, my business has taken a knock. I need to advertise. And then there's buzzwords like digital. There's buzzwords like there's so many things that we are bombarded with right now where you as a brand manager or the CEO or the financial head in that company, you don't know whether this is the correct time to advertise. Is this the right time to advertise? And what medium should one choose in order to get that message across?
This is definitely the right time to advertise. I think that there was a time where brands were nervous as to how they would come across because advertising is selling, really, right? So there was a time when brands were worried that if I advertise now, am I being sensitive to the fact that the whole world is going through this entire thing? We weren't really sure what the right language to use was. People weren't really sure whether it was okay for me to say, you know, I'd go out there and buy washing powder, which is a bit strange because, you know, whether pandemic or not, we are going to need washing powder. You know, so
sure,
yeah, so it became quite a strange time, but I think very quickly brands realized that they had to snap out of it and find their own tone and their own voice within it. You know, so because if you think about it, for example, people are sitting at home, people were a captive audience, right? In and amongst all this other stuff that's on the news and the reams of information about people that are passing away, and as the world was learning more about the pandemic, they were a captive audience. So you actually just needed to actually get that much better. While traversing this land of sensitivities, without you couldn't just run your mouth about anything without being aware that the world is going through this thing. So there were a couple of things. There were a couple of brands got it right, and there were like one or two hits and misses. But I think eventually we became fluent in the language of how to speak within the pandemic. Some better than others, obviously, because some people, you know, were never really fluent at speaking to the people to begin with. So we kind of put them together amazing now. But in general, the advertising industry found a way to get fluent at the language.
Yeah, and is digital the way in which, or rather the medium in which one should advertise? Because you've got brands that are stuck in their old ways of conventional mediums in which they prefer to advertise in, which is TV, radio, print. Now you're coming to them and you say, no, don't neglect social media, and then they think, why? So what do you say to those brands and also, you know, companies that are still skeptical about putting lots of money behind digital?
So here's my take. My take has always been about digital conversation, even before all this, that digital, just like radio, just like TV, are mediums, right? You still have to have an idea. Your whole thing still needs to be held together by what your brand is and how you want to put that across, and then you need to find the specialities that work within that medium in order to make it work, right? So I'll make an example with radio. So on radio, you have the option of making a 15-second live read. You have the option of creating a 2-minute session with an interview with the DJ. You can make a 30-second radio ad, but it's still within the world of radio, right? So digital works exactly the same. You just need to find a way to understand, make sure that your strategy or your digital strategy finds the person you're looking for exactly where they are. So digital was always going to be a medium that was going to keep growing because, you know, you and I are talking on this platform, and these platforms are always growing with or without the pandemic. And the other truth is that it doesn't necessarily mean that people who didn't have digital platforms before suddenly went out and bought digital platforms, right?
Yeah.
So if you are not, if you didn't have access to digital before, you didn't all of a sudden say, hey, guys, we're getting 10 iPads for the house. We've never got to that. You always have to find ways to speak to the people in the place where they are. And like I said about the captive audience, the idea of people listening to the radio at the time still exists. The idea of without punching any radio stations of the Sunday R&B cruise still exists in everyone's house, right? So while people are cooking in the background, while people are cleaning, while we're all in the house, all listening to the same radio station, so it means that that's still a place for us to speak.
Yeah.
So there'll always be space for innovation within the spaces that already exist, and digital is just one.
Yeah.
And I think that, yeah.
No, I also wanted to say, while you're touching on innovation, we know that digital is sort of like new, well, albeit it's not outright new, but there's a sort of like new wave now in which advertisers are jumping on, and also brands, I think, are being coerced into jumping into this medium, which is influencers. What's your take on influencers? Do you think influencers work, or influencers are just a waste of money?
Look, this is a debate that a lot of people think that we can have for a very long time. I have very clear views about them. I think that advertising has always been about trying to make people do certain things, and sometimes you get some people to do them first, and other people think, oh man, if that guy's wearing Crockett & Jones, maybe I want to wear Crockett & Jones as well. So there are places where it works. There are places where you get an influencer to wash their hands with Lifebuoy, but not everyone knows that those are not Lifebuoy hands. We know Lifebuoy hands, my man. You and I have Lifebuoy hands. You and I have Lifebuoy hands. Those are not Lifebuoy hands.
Oh wow. So brands. So you agree brands get it wrong?
You know what? I think it's because it's still also one of those mediums that has not been figured out properly yet. And not like all the other mediums that we're working on, but like it feels like it's gotten so much easier to fuck it up. I mean, to mess it up. Sorry. It feels like the influencer space is so easy to mess up, and every day people are finding new and interesting ways to make it worse. And
do you think sometimes the onus is on the influencer to say, no, this, I see the check is good, but this brand is not aligned to me?
You know what? Yeah, I think that we sometimes give people a bit too much credit, because sometimes, that phrase that's on the internet called fumbling the bag. There are people who just refuse to fumble the bag,
Yeah. How can I secure the bag?
Yeah, now they're ready to secure the damn bag. Doesn't really matter at what cost, But you're right. Also, like when you're unsafe and someone throws you the Lifebuoy, you're like, come on, guys, don't throw it. Maybe just leave it here. Have an opinion.
Okay, you clearly like try to get Lifebuoy into this whole thing. That means we will never get a Lifebuoy sponsor on the show after this. Okay.
How you get a Lifebuoy sponsor? Maybe in this session we'll figure out that you can do interviews while you wash your hands.
Yeah.
So even I'll buy into that.
Yeah, it would work. That is Grant Sithole, and you need to do yourself a favor and find him on all the social media platforms should you want to have some more insight, particularly if you are a brand manager or even a company and you want to know, how do I position my brand, particularly now in the age of COVID or even post-COVID? What do brands do? And I think you touched on something very important there in terms of be part of the conversation now so that post-COVID you are top of mind. We'll take a small break. When we come back, we talk all things sports.